Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Marzullo here, Ram Studio Comics. Welcome back. And today, just doing some warm ups and creating some various faces. So I figured I would show you that process and narrate over top. So as you see, I kind of box out the character, do a soft erase, convert to blue line. I've been doing the blue line this way now, where I lock transparency of the layer and then just paint the line work really quickly with a blue line. I could obviously draw on blue line, but I like the feel of still drawing in a darker line. So yeah, just warming up on these characters, and I try to do a nice variety whenever I do this. So I start off with kind of this, goofy character looking off in the distance. I'm trying to work on various emotions, and I'm gonna do some upcoming videos in more detail on that. But I like to always practice my topics, get a foundation of what I'm doing, and get a certain comfort level with it before I do an actual tutorial when I bring it to you here on the channel. Nothing worse than doing a tutorial and not really having all my information intact, and then not being able to bring good information to you. So here, doing a downward shot. Downward and upward shots can always be tricky for me. So I give myself a lot of like reference lines and sketch lines. I draw the hairline now in my sketch. That seems to help me ground the hair and put it in place a little bit better. So I definitely recommend doing that. So if you have a hard time working out these forms, give yourself a lot of reference lines, because you can always soft erase them down. You can always convert them to blue line, whatever you got to do to kind of drop it backwards in space, and then envision your next level of drawing over top of that. So definitely give yourself lots of reference points, and don't be afraid to move things around. I don't oftentimes get things placed really well the first time out, and some of these faces I really struggle with. Sometimes I'll get lucky and kind of drop it down. It just kind of goes into place. And that's probably because I drew that particular pose hundreds, if not 1,000 times at this point in my life. I'm a 40-year-old artist, so I've drawn lots of things lots of times. So when people are like, man, how did you do that, Rob? Not everybody's entirely impressed with what I do, obviously, but some people, act like I'm creating, artwork and magic at the same time or something. And it's not that. It's just that I've drawn certain things over and over again to where that becomes easy. Like I've said in previous videos, profiles are like really easy for me. I love, like, if I don't want to think about it and I just want to have fun and sketch something, then I'll go for a profile. Drawback to that is you got to make sure that you constantly don't just draw profiles, because good luck telling a story in a comic book with only profiles. That would be pretty tricky. It'd have to be a heck of a story, like a really good story, to where people didn't just go, "Oh my God, this guy draws nothing but profiles." Yeah, so that probably wouldn't work. But anyways, so yeah, then I do an angular shot, screaming shots, or whatever. This guy kind of looking like he's getting a little bit loud, or chanting or something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's mad, whatever it is. And these can be tricky too. One thing to keep in mind that I've noticed when drawing open mouth poses like this, a couple things really I'll touch on. One thing is that to keep in mind that the lower jaw drops down, the upper jaw doesn't budge. It's your cranium, just so you know. So the lower jaw rotates off the pivot of the jawbone, obviously. And I know this is very rudimentary and self-explanatory, but you really got to think about things like this when you're drawing your characters. The other thing is always keep in mind, if you struggle with a certain part of the face, say the eyes or the mouth, I would, especially when it comes to placement, I would draw that first. Get it out of the way. It's like that old saying, swallow the biggest frog first, which is disgusting, and I don't know what that means, but it get the worst part of your day or your drawing or out of the way, and the rest becomes easy. Is, I assume, is what it's saying. I don't know why you'd swallow a frog to complete that analogy. But anyways, so if you're having trouble with the mouth, draw the mouth first. It definitely works as far as placement goes. And if you see I move the back of his head down a bit, that's what I'm saying about adjusting things. Don't be afraid to move things around and adjust them, especially digital. But even if you're not working digital, I get people that get mad at me and they say, freaking digital, blah, 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 whatever. And, they kind of down what I'm doing here. But at any rate, it doesn't matter. I'm happy with what I'm doing. But at any rate, you can use any of these same techniques traditionally. You just have to use a light table. These are all the same things that I did traditionally for years. I still have my light table. It's over to my left. I'm looking at it fondly right now. It's turned into a glorified pencil holder, but I do use it every now and then. And anything that you see me doing here can just be done that way with a light table. So, don't think that, because digital, somebody's cheating, or it's just a different tool, man. That's all it is. So, at any rate, so try these effects with a light table if you need to. And you can move things around the same way. So if you get something that you like, don't scrap the whole drawing. You can transfer that with a sheet of paper and a light table, or if you can't get a light table, use a window out your bedroom. I've seen people do that. Or just build one. I built one out of a box and some light fixtures I got from the store. All right, so here's another angular shot. Sorry, I wanted to put some variety in here, but I guess I didn't do a whole lot of variety. But I always struggle trying to get pretty women too, like drawing pretty women. Something about beauty is really hard to capture. It's real easy to get it wrong, and I don't know that I captured it here, but I try to do this. So I'm trying to do the little cute look back over the shoulder look, or whatever, look back, and it's real easy to get the proportions of a pretty woman's face off, like making her chin too big or a jawline too masculine. It's really tricky. I've struggled with that for a long time. And, so here's me, attempting to try to revisit that topic. And that's a big part of what I wanted to talk about in these videos, or this particular video, is, when you have something that's really tough for you, make sure to go revisit it. I would say work on that the most, and I've heard mixed opinions about that. Some people say, well, if you work on only your weak suits, you end up with a bunch of strong weak suits. Or it's said some other way, but it makes more sense than probably the way I said it. But I don't really feel that's accurate when it comes to art. I just don't. I mean, I get it. Draw what you're really great at, and everybody's going to go, whoa, that dude can really draw freaking pumpkins. His pumpkins are the best pumpkins I've ever seen. But, what happens when you have to do a full book? You can't just draw pumpkins. You got to draw a little everything. So, and I don't know why I picked pumpkins. We just had Halloween. Maybe that's why. But, so you got to think about it like you got to strengthen your weak suits, because if you got to draw pretty women in your book that day, then and you're definitely going to have to draw them. So you got to make sure to mix it up. So practice hair one day. And, people say, like, I'm struggling to draw hair. How do I get better at hair? You draw hair hundreds of times in hundreds of different ways, and that's how you get better at hair. It's not the easy solution. It's not let me find the one right technique and I'm done with hair. I've mastered it. It just means doing it over and over again, and studying from a variety of people. So there's my tidbit of advice for that. So, all right, that's about wraps it up. So I appreciate you tuning in and stopping in once again to watch the videos. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you don't mind. And let me know in the comments section below what you thought and what you'd like to see in the future. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and we will talk to you soon.